In this video, we are going to evaluate clean architecture with the scalability features for our e-commerce application. As you know that we have designed the e-commerce application and adapted technology stack and also examined the code review for clean architecture repository. Now it is time to evaluate current architecture. So in this step, we will ask ourselves what's wrong with this architecture and how can we improve this current design. So let's take an action. Our current architecture for e-commerce application is clean architecture with following the monolithic approaches. As you remember that we have already evaluated this architecture before and listed the benefits and drawback of this architecture. You can see the slide. The benefits are easy development, debug, deploy comes from the monolithic architecture. It is provide loose decoupling independent layers, flexible logical layer, and it provide testable and independent changeable for the third-party libraries. And also there are drawbacks. Drawbacks comes from the clean architecture layers. Layers are independent, but those are technical layers. The technical layers are domain, application, infrastructure, and web UI layer. But this time, vertical business logic implementation code required to modify all the layers. For example, when we are applying adding to shopping cart, adding item shopping cart, or checkout order use case, for implementing this kind of features, we should touch and develop all the layers. But last time we were focused on the scalability problems and solve the scalability problems with adding horizontal scaling application server and putting the load balancer. Now we can handle good amount of requests with helping from the horizontal scale and load balancer. So now we can focus on the main problem of the clean architecture, which is the vertical business logic implementation. So for that reason, I would like to explain pain points of the clean architecture. You can see the image on the slide, the typical structure to create projects or libraries, the UI, application, domain, and infrastructure. So when we implement clean architecture, we have created these layers as a circle format, but we have at least 4 layers to implement clean architecture. And one of the pain points of the clean architecture is context switching. For example, when we were working on a feature and need to work on any combination of data access, domain, or application logic, we had to switch context into different software projects. So these are totally different folder structure, and we had to remember and revisit codes from other folders and continue with totally different code base. That means this is not efficiency when it comes to developing any feature. So the folder structure requires domain-driven design, bundled context approaches that we can manage the scope for business features. And another big pain point is vertical slices. Vertical slice architecture introduced by Jimmy Bogart, and it offers this architecture against the traditional layered or onion or clean architecture approaches. When we are designing application with the layered and clean architecture, the idea is to provide loose decoupling and high cohesion, but with providing loose decoupling layers, this time we face that highly coupling vertical slice when developing any feature into software application. So that means when adding or changing any feature into application, we are typically developing into almost all layers in the application code. So we are changing the user interface, adding new use case classes into application layer, adding fields to models, modifying data access codes, and so on. So that means we are highly coupled with vertical slices when developing features. You can see the image in here. Even we are separating technical logical layers with following the clean architecture. When we are trying to adding a new feature into our application, this is the vertical slice. We have to touch on the every layers, and this becomes a bottleneck for our clean architecture.